Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Residents in St. Christopher Christ Church woke up to the unusual sight of a young man gunned down, lying in a pool of blood. Kareem Smith has that story.
A young man dead in a pool of blood on the hard courts near St. Christopher Primary, apparently gunned down in the early hours of this morning. He's been identified as AJ Ricardo Smith, known in his community as AJ. The crime scene covered a wide area of land stretching from the main road to the primary school where the body was discovered, and it prompted scores of onlookers to gather, trying to catch a glimpse of the tragic scene. Acting Police Public Relations Officer Roland Cobbler was also on the scene, and he shared some details.
At around 6:18 this morning, police received a report that the body of a man in a pool of blood was in the area of the school at St. Christopher. On responding, officers discovered the body of the man. He was deceased with a number of wounds about his body. Our investigations are continuing.
Residents say AJ was father to a young daughter. His family members were visibly shaken by the incident, and attempts to get a comment from his father were unsuccessful as he appeared particularly upset about the situation. However, Pastor Sylvia Fiedler of Mission Prayer Room says she knew AJ to be very helpful. Recalling the day her own mother died, she says AJ was the one person who did everything he could to help. She says he at least deserved a chance to live life and watch his daughter grow up.
I always promised myself that I would help AJ, and the Spirit of the Lord had moved on me that same day to talk to AJ, and I talked to him. He listened to me, and he shook his head when I was speaking to him. He heard what I had to say. His father was constantly talking to him, and I say what happened today is a tragedy. He did not deserve to die like this.
Principal of the St. Christopher Primary School, Sheriff Sergeant Speed, said the proximity of the body to the school prompted its closure. Fortunately, no students stumbled on the crime scene while on their way to school. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
And a shooting last night has left a St. Michael man nursing multiple gunshot wounds at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The incident occurred at Deacon's Farm. At about 10:15, 60-year-old Theophilus DaCosta Pyle, who is a resident of Madison Terrace in that district, received several gunshot wounds about the body during a brazen attack. Pyle had just stepped out of his car when he was approached by two men who shot him and fled the scene. He was transported to hospital by private vehicle. He is said to be in stable condition. Police are investigating a suspicious house fire that has left a St. Michael man homeless. It happened in 1st Avenue, Beckles Road early this morning. That fire also damaged two other homes. Rianne Phillips reports.
Who would want to destroy the home of 45-year-old Fabian Agard? According to a police report, a neighbor heard what appeared to be the sound of breaking glass, and on looking outside, saw Mr. Agard's home on fire. Zico Jackson helped to sound the alarm in the district.
Well, I was sleeping, and then I heard voices outside, so I ran outside and saw a house on fire. And so I went to shout for the person that lived at the house, and my little brother come out and shout the person next to the house that burning. Then we realized that the man was not inside, so I went down Nelson Street to see if he's down there, and then we saw him and bring him back up to the house.
The perpetrator or perpetrators nearly took the life of 79-year-old visually impaired Adrian Garnes. He barely managed to get out of his house before one side was scorched. But his son-in-law, Adrian Marshall, says he's doing fine.
By the time I arrived, the house was already inflamed. Mr. Garnes was already outside. He was by the next door neighbor, and he was safe. He was well taken care of. What we found was that by the time everything was over, his house was damaged. The side of the house towards the neighbor's house who burned. We got some damages to the windows and the siding, as well as some water damage on the inside. But the damages they're not very great. It could have been a lot worse, but we're just glad that he's okay.
A third house occupied by 64-year-old Neville Gittins was also damaged in the fire. Residents are now hoping there won't be a repeat of this morning's horrific events. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
Finance Minister Chris Sinclair has responded to concerns from the Barbados Bankers Association that commercial banks have not been able to complete just over $200 million worth of transactions because of new tax compliance rules. It all relates to concerns over recent amendments to the Barbados Revenue Authority Act. The change requires a tax clearance certificate to be issued by the BRA in order to complete transactions for real estate and related activities. Minister Sinclair says some stakeholders have not given the system time to work, purely on the grounds that they did not want it in the first place. In fact, he says some banks and lawyers appear hell-bent on frustrating government's legitimate attempts to collect the tax revenue due to the state. According to the minister, first there were complaints that the amendment was unconstitutional. Then concerns arose that it was unclear how the law would work. The latest issue, he says, is that transactions are being delayed because the BRA cannot give tax clearance certificates fast enough. Minister Sinclair insists these are all excuses for non-cooperation with the government generally and the BRA specifically as it seeks to collect the tax revenue legally due to the state. He's made it clear the law will remain in place and the government will not be bullied into repealing it because some people believe it should not be. The finance minister is also confident any real or perceived challenges with the new system could and would be resolved once reasonable people sit down and work through the issues. CBC understands that the BRA and the Bankers Association have scheduled a meeting for Tuesday to discuss the amendment and other matters. In the meantime, opposition leader Mia Mottley says the Barbados Labour Party has had a problem with the amendment since it was introduced to Parliament. She says they were concerned from the inception it would cause chaos in the lives of citizens and businesses conducting ordinarily routine transactions. Ms. Mottley adds that the BRA simply doesn't have the institutional capacity to undertake the role of issuing this volume of tax clearance certificates in acceptable timelines. She says the amendment has the potential to affect not only the collection of property transfer tax and stamp duty, but ultimately all revenue emanating from the conduct of legitimate commerce in Barbados. Ms. Mottley also believes the move will add to the uncertainty plaguing the return of confidence to the island's economy and has implications for people employed in related sectors. Ms. Mottley says the amendment should be repealed immediately and has pledged to support the move if government does it before the budget due on Tuesday. Several people were injured when a minibus and car collided at Gibbs St. Peter this afternoon. The car ended up off the road, a mangled wreck. The minibus was driven by 47-year-old William Seeley of Crusher State Road, Prospects in James, while the motor car was being driven by 40-year-old Marvin Doyle of Maycock Terrace, St. Lucie. The driver of the minibus complained of pain to the elbow and neck. 4 female passengers on the minibus also complained of back pains. They were all transported to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance for medical treatment. The driver of the car and his male passenger both complained of minor pain to the body but opted to seek private medical attention. By year-end, calls to ban cell phone use and drinking and driving could be answered. Word of this from Minister of Transport and Works Michael Lashley at the launch of a new road safety campaign. Sharika Griffith has more.
Plans to amend the current Road Traffic Act are in the advanced stage, says Transport Minister Michael Lashley. Once the budget wraps up, he's hoping to bring the prohibition of cell phone use while driving and the implementation of breathalyzer testing before Parliament.
The use of cell phone while driving, we call it distracted driving, and the provision relating to breathalyzer and random drug and alcohol testing for PSP operators, and for all road users, actually, all road users. So the Road Traffic Act is one of the first planks, and we hope that after the budget that we should be able to debate the Road Traffic Act in Parliament and have it passed through both houses.
These changes are part of a public awareness campaign deemed necessary due to the high number of road fatalities and other serious vehicle accidents, especially this year. Minister Lashley expressed hope that the campaign will result in a marked change in the behavior of all road users. President of the Road Safety Association, Charmaine Roland Bowen, fully supports the initiative, which she says shows policymakers are ensuring the safety of road users.
So far, we have laws against speeding. We have laws against the seatbelt use. We don't have them specifically against distracted driving or drink driving. I didn't say drunk driving, I said drink driving, because you don't have to be drunk, to get into a collision. As little as one drink can impair a person's ability to drive safely. And when we get those other two, we would be on track, with other developed countries.
Assistant Superintendent Ronald Stanford says the police has been concerned with the number of road fatalities for the year. He believes educating the public on proper road use is vital.
We can put police officers on every street corner if we could, but at the end of the day, if drivers don't know, if drivers are not educated into doing what is right, then we will still lose this fight.
The campaign will feature several ads to be aired on television and social media. Programs will also be held in schools across the island. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
And fire officers are on the scene at Adams Castle Plantation House. This is in the Sheraton Park area. The large derelict plantation house there is on fire. More details as they come to hand. Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Yes is a beautiful word. It empowers us. It brings satisfaction. And since you earn up to 3% cash back on everyday purchases with the Scotiabank Gold MasterCard, that's a lot of satisfaction, a lot more often. Plus, you get a welcome bonus from the get-go. Scotiabank Gold MasterCard is the card that keeps on giving, so it's easier for you to create many more precious yes moments. Apply today.
Parents, encourage your children to drink more water. Avoid soft drinks and other sugary drinks as they're high in calories and may contribute to excess weight gain. Offer fruit more often than fruit juices. If you offer juice, choose 100% juice and limit to 8 ounces per day. If you're making your own fruit juices, limit the amount of sugar you add. Skim milk, smoothies made with skim milk or yogurt, and calcium-enriched soy milk are other healthy options. This is a message from the National Nutrition Center.
Hello friends, this is Jeff Shepard inviting you to join us every Thursday from 6 to 7 on QFM for Nichols Bacon Inc. Manor. Always fresh.
Your insurance payment doesn't have to be a burden. At Beacon, we're happy to help finance your premium and spread your payments over 9 months so that it's easier to manage. Call 436-6200 or log on to beacon.co.tt.
More young women could soon be leaving Barbados to work in overseas agricultural programs. That's the word from Labor Minister Dr. Esther Barr-Sukkot. She says employers are impressed with the high-quality trained Barbadians compared to job applicants from other countries.
We are therefore looking for opportunities in more highly skilled areas. As I speak, young graduates of our Samuel Jackman Prescott Polytechnic, including one female, are being assigned to work in the agriculture and animal husbandry industries in Canada. We are now hoping to target more women as the regulators of these programs overseas, in seeking to comply with labor standards, want to ensure, among other things, gender equity.
It's been 50 years since the establishment of the Farm Labor Agreement between Barbados and Canada. Minister Barr-Sukkot says the country has worked hard to remain a top supplier of labor for the program.
Over time, the NEB has seen some employment programs contract and in some cases curtailed, especially those related to emigration schemes, as receiving countries face their own social and political issues. These have challenged the Caribbean and certainly Barbados to maintain our position as preferred supply countries. We are, however, diligently pursuing other avenues of opportunity in both local and overseas markets.
Last night, we ran a story surrounding a brewing controversy in our local music industry involving soca artist Nikita's 2017 release, Same Way, written by Trinidadian songwriter Jason Shaft Bishop. Tonight, the songwriter responds. There's been raging debate ever since it was disclosed that Nikita's sweet soca track We The Same was released by UK-based Barbadian artist Divine in 2015 with a different name. Today, in a statement, Shaft attempted to clear up the issue, saying he forgot he sent the song to Divine 2 years ago. According to him, Divine was to record the song in 2015, but he did not follow up with her and was unaware it was released. The release goes on to state that in 2017, producers of Nikita's version, the Red Boys, asked Shaft if the song was available, who informed them it was free to use. Now, the writer has stated he forgot he sent the song to Divine and is expressing regret at not having a proper classification system at the time. As composer, Shaft owns 100% of the publishing rights. With respect to the two versions, Divine owns 100% of the mastered version of hers, and Nikita and the Red Boys 100% of their master. As a result of Shaft not remembering he sent the song to Divine, and the Red Boys and Nikita not finding a version of it anywhere in their due diligence, they concluded it was a brand new song. Of course, Nikita's version is Same Way. In a live Facebook video this evening, Nikita thanked everyone who supported her throughout the ordeal so far. She said she was completely shocked and gutted to learn that the song was previously released, insisting the only reason she recorded the song was that she paid for a song that was presented to her as a new song. Nikita says she only wants positivity and asks the public not to be more sensitive and not to attack anyone involved in the process. Whether it's music on Spring Garden Highway or in the classroom, one Kadooment band is making sure it is involved this crop over. Tristan Ward has the details.
Zulu International showed its charitable side when it donated instruments to the talented students of the Irving Wilson's music program. The program, which started in 2015, consists of 12 students from the deaf, visually impaired and autistic departments. Coordinator of the program, Chantal Lynch, says she reached out to musician Terry Arthur after realizing the group's talent.
I managed to get him to come. I was like, just give me a little something. And there our full-time music program was born. I managed to get him to come at least once a week.
With the help of Mr. Arthur and other musicians, Ms. Lynch was able to help the students sharpen their skills. However, she admitted that the program could still use some help. And without having to say a word, Zulu's Andre Wharton showed up at the school to find out if they needed help with anything.
I think that throughout the entire experience they were saying, this somebody pulling a leg, is this a prank, this is a trick? Because we were already, as an organization, ready to invest. We just needed to make sure that the school needed the investment. So from the moment they said, yes, we need it, it was like pretty much, send me the list, let's go and attack it.
The students got the opportunity to perform with Queen of Soca Alison Hines during the presentation. This added to their already growing list of performances, which include playing for the Governor General and at a United Nations function. Ms. Lynch says the experience so far has been motivation for the students.
For the children to be able to play alongside the best of Barbados, has been a real motivation for them. And I know Willie too is constantly speaking of, the brilliance of the students.
Ms. Lynch says the school is looking forward to Zulu's continued support as they look to take the program to the next level in the coming year. Tristan Ward, CBC News.
Director of Colors Entertainment, Brian Worrell, says none of his costumes will be priced over $1,000. The band leader also told CBC News he's working on ways to make costumes more affordable. However, he says the pricing of costumes depends on the structure of a band.
We are trying to target, a local market. Not that it wouldn't be there for the overseas market, but we're trying to bring the prices down. We know that people have been complaining over the past few years about the cost of the costumes, and we tried really hard to make the costumes locally as well, so that would kind of lower the overall construction price for the costumes, and therefore give the public a cheaper price for what would be a top-of-the-line type costume.
Mr. Worrell says sales are up and believes they could surpass last year's.
So far, so good. We have some pieces that have already sold out, some frontline pieces. Our frontline pieces are going at what we'll have backline or midline prices in the other bands. And from what we've been, not that we're telling ourselves, but from what persons are coming into the band house and saying, is that the quality of the costumes is on par with these other, the larger party bands.
There's been a lot of debate about the high cost of crop-over costumes, but do Barbadians in general believe this is the case? CBC News took to the streets to get the public's response on what they think about the costumes this year, and most believe band leaders need to reduce their prices.
I think the price is a lot, but I guess from I would have to say a Reveler standpoint, I probably don't understand the pricing of how they're bringing stuff and what they have to pay. I assume that is why the pricing is hot, but it's a little bit too much money, as we would say, for a bathing suit.
That's the only thing that I don't like, because you see, I understand that a lot of people put a lot of effort and work in them costumes to make people look good, but still life getting harder. You know, understand, everybody can't afford a lot of them costumes because they're expensive. A lot of people want to come from the States and jump here too, that I know about, but they say that costumes were too expensive. So that's why basically a lot of people jumping for 40 morning.
This year was a year that I had really planned to jump because I had never done it before. And I said, well, I would jump this year. But when I went to check the price of the costume, there were like 1,100 and change, And I feel that those prices are too extravagant. But I would still like to jump, but like the most I would pay for a costume is like $300.
I think they're too expensive, and everyone can't afford it because they're working at a minimum wage and have to pay the bills and still got to look for a living. I think they should drop the cost a little bit.
It's a bit too expensive though, because when you go costume for $600 and $700, well, that's expensive. But in saying that, you go look at the cost of material for the bands and stuff like that, and then government ain't really gained enough help, so you can get a steep price in costumes. So I guess this thing you can't avoid.
After the break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines across our region.
Kingsley Store, your furniture and appliances store on Roebuck Street, welcomes you to come and purchase top quality items at great and affordable value. Come to Kingsley Store and see our locally crafted furniture. Check out Kingsley Store's small and large appliances, fridges, stoves, washing machines, blenders, irons, and so much more. Come get your single or double divans, pine beds, mahogany finished bed heads, and wardrobes. Let's go to the Kingsley Store, your furniture store on Roebuck Street. Our friendly staff is eagerly waiting to assist you.
The Embassy of the People's Republic of China presents an evening gala celebrating 40 years of China-Barbados diplomatic ties. May 30th at the Frank Coloma Hall from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Experience dance, acrobatics, drumming, martial arts, and musical performances. Adults $20 and children ages 4 to 12 $10. Tickets available at Waterworld Pet Shop, Jordan's Complex Town, A&B Music Sheraton, CS Pharmacy Bridgetown, Emerald City 6 Roads, and the National Cultural Foundation.
Barbados Gospel Fest in association with Quartz presents Flow One Awesome Day in association with Life 97.5 FM. Sunday, May 28th, 40 Hill National Park, 1 p.m. for the 25th Big Praise Party featuring Sinach, Jerron Nurse, John Yard, Nisha Woods, Sherry-Ann Moon, and many others. Tickets $45 advance, $55 at the door, VIP $150. Flow One Awesome Day, Sunday, May 28th, 1 p.m. 40 Hill. See you there.
Across the Caribbean, brought to you by CIBC First Caribbean.
The Caribbean region is poised to make concerted efforts in exploiting their natural energy resources. However, the move, which would see Caribbean states reduce their importation bill, still has some hurdles to overcome. This from lecturer in the Faculty of Law at the University of the West Indies, Alana Lancaster. Speaking during a seminar on international and environmental law, Ms. Lancaster says when going into renewable energy on a large scale, utility management becomes a factor to consider.
In summing up some of the areas in law and policy that need to be restructured, utility management. The issue of unbundling, as I said, the traditional model is that the state provides generation, distribution, billing, and everything. This is a model that if you're going to move to independent power producers are usually interested in a very specific aspect of the equation. They either provide power, or they transmit, or they build. They're usually not interested in the entire aspect.
In St. Lucia, police have ruled the death of a 9-month-old Marchand baby a homicide. According to reports, the baby girl was found with a rope around her neck. The child's relatives say they are distraught. Her death brings the number of homicides for the year to 24.
The 9-month-old baby girl was the last of her 28-year-old mother's 5 children. Relatives say news of the baby's death is heartbreaking. The little one was found dead at her home in the George Charles Boulevard in Marcia on Monday, May 22nd, 2017. Her grandmother says it was a fellow resident who informed her that her daughter's baby was dead.
So I went down to the boulevard and see if I get her. I asked for her. Then they tell me she in the hospital, and when I went back home, on the way to go at my home, when I reached by the police station there, somebody called me and tell me, look, my daughter inside of there. Then she tell me, mommy, my baby died. My baby died, and that's all she could tell me.
The baby girl's grand aunt says it is a tough episode for relatives. She says the situation is perplexing as the child's mother is a hard-working woman who fends for herself and her children.
She's a good girl. She's not a girl that bad. She will take care of all her children. She's a girl, she survived. If she don't have nothing to give her children, she will go and look for it where it is. She's not a bad girl. She's a very good girl. Nothing bad about her. She take care of all her children. She has 5 children.
Lambert says the baby's mother told relatives that she left the child asleep to run errands.
Her door don't have no latch. She just put a rope in the door and she left the child sleeping in the playpen in the corner. When she come back, she went to buy pumper. And when she come back, she meet the door closed. So she hold the door. To open the door, she said the door was hard. So when she opened the door, she see the child in the playpen by the door, and the child in the playpen and the rope around the child's neck.
A post-mortem was conducted on the body of the baby on Tuesday, May 23, 2017. It revealed that the 9-month-old died from asphyxia, secondary to hanging.
As floodwaters recede in several locations throughout Guyana's Region 8, the government, along with private entities, are providing relief to a number of communities. In some areas, homes were washed away by the floodwaters over the past few days.
The much-needed resources, which vary from basic commodities to medication, were taken into the flood-hit areas by boats and helicopters over the weekend, says Minister of State Joseph Harmon.
We were able to fly in supplies to Oranduke, and from Oranduke we were able to utilize a helicopter to move from Canapang and Itabat and those things. So it was really the resource of the state that actually had to bring that relief. So even though the supplies were there at Oranduke and the other forward logistic base, to get them to the people required boats and helicopters.
Minister Harmon updating reporters about the situation in Region 8 on Monday. According to Minister Harmon, he, along with a high-level team, had meetings with residents from the Itiringbang and Canapang villages on Sunday, and the residents were more than thankful for the quick response which the government manifested through the Civil Defense Commission to address their plight.
We had the opportunity of seeing some people's homes that were actually completely moved away, washed away by the flood waters. And on those occasions, I think I said to the residents that we will cooperate with the community and with the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs to ensure that those houses are rebuilt in a very short space of time.
The state minister posited that government officials at the visit to the flood-hit locations on Sunday gave the undertaking that every effort will be made on the part of the state and other organizations to ensure that the comfort to which residents are accustomed are restored as quickly as possible.
Across the Caribbean, brought to you by CIBC First Caribbean.
A peek into the world of sports is just ahead, but before we get there, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.